speculation game. You've known about Miss Marvel. You've collected Miss Marvel. You've picked up the key issues of Miss Marvel. But for those of you that don't know Miss Marvel is a character that didn't jump right away, but she's one of those characters that Marvel released in back in 2000, I think 13, 14, 15, right in that era, and they released them in. It was when the trade paperback came out that all of a sudden she grew in popularity, and she's a character that we always go. She's never selling a lot of issues, but her trade paperbacks sell. So Marvel's been pushing her, and there's an entire new generation of collectors out there that are going to love Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is Kamala Khan. She is a Pakistani character from New Jersey. And you get to meet her family and you get to interact with her family. It's all about a teenage girl struggling with her new powers. It came about during the time when Marvel was trying to decide if they want to keep pursuing the X-Men or if they want to switch off and follow the Inhumans. So Kamala Khan is an Inhuman, and she is infected. And when you first get introduced to her, she's just a person in the crowd, and it's in Captain Marvel 14. This book is one of those books that's not heavily printed. There's just a crowd scene. She's in the crowd scene. That book is easily $100, if not 200-300 now, especially now with the show information coming out. And then she comes back again in issue 17. In issue 17, what makes it so popular is there's a second print that's been a hot book for 2-3 years now. It's a beautiful second print. It has her and Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel is in the full costume. And this is the book that is highly sought after. It's the one that if you could have it, you're set. This is the book you want. It advertised Miss Marvel first, though, in a Marvel Point One preview. The all-new Marvel Now Point One, number 1. And she's in that book. And that's a book that's climbing. There's a 1 for 75 or 1 for 100 variant you can get as well. And it's a quick image. She's on the cover of the issue. Not the 175, but the 1 for 100. She's just in the background with lots of different characters. And Marvel did this where they were just basically saying, here are the new books coming out in the next year. And there's several different characters that are in there. Indestructible Hulk and Loki's in there. But Miss Marvel being a new character, this is technically her first appearance in costume, is on the cover. And this is not necessarily a hard book to find because lots of stores had them. But it's a hard book to find in high grade because lots of stores had them and then they threw them in their dollar bins and no one cared about them. And then she became a popular character about issue maybe 10 or 11, 12. She became a popular character and people wanted to start collecting her. I know that's when I picked her up, is when issue 10, 11, 12, and I had to go back through and try to track down her early appearances. So you do want to try to track down this variant that's a 1 for 75 by Steve McNiven. But then Miss Marvel 1. Miss Marvel 1 has multiple variants. I think it went to a 5th printing. Then you have sketch design variant. You have a Art Adams 1 for 50 variant. You have a 1 for 100 sketch of that. The reality, though, some of the second, third, and fourth prints are actually a little more sought after than. Well, first print, of course, is the one you want, but the 1 for 50s and the 1 for 75s, they're not quite as sought after. Though there are some fun ones. There's a black and white sketch one that's like a third or fourth print. And then you have Miss Marvel, and then her first 4 or 5 issues have second and third prints as well. So they're worth tracking down. But where you really get into Miss Marvel is she has some really sought after variants that you sort of want. That issue 2 has her blowing a bubble gum on top of a roof of a building. That's been a hot book. It's worth several $100s to almost $1,000 maybe by now. So guys, what I'll look for is different character premieres. So first cameo appearance of the Inventor, sort of a clone of the Thomas Edison mix. It's just random. Miss Marvel's going to be sort of a kid show, so the characters and the villains, especially in the early issues, are not necessarily these big scary bad guys. They're bad guys teenagers might have faced. Think of early Spider-Man and some of the stuff that they're. So there's a character that might come about from that, and that's issue 5 of the series that you might want to look into. The issue 6 is where you get the full appearance. Though it doesn't mean bad guys are never huge spec, but sometimes if they're a true protagonist that you really want, you might look into that. There in issue 13 is one that's been heavily spec'd on. There's the first appearance of Cameron as an Inhuman, and there's a lot of rumors that that's going to be a main character within the series, so you sort of want to look at getting that. It's a great cover, too. Issue 12 right before that has a lot of spec because there's a lot of Black Widow, a little mini part in that issue that's worth checking out as well. But yeah, I would look into issue 13, issue 5, issue 6. Of course, issue 1 has a lot of first appearances within it because you get to meet her entire world and family and her best friend and some of those. And you get in the little bit of trailer you do see her best friend and things like that. So The series itself, will it tie in? It'll tie into probably to Captain Marvel, but will you have lots of this, okay, attached to Spider-Man, attached to all these things? We have yet to see how Marvel does their TV shows. How much of a connection to the MCU movies will they actually have? So for my thing, I would look heavily into Miss Marvel and not necessarily looking into all the champions and everything right away. Another book that just came out right before the pandemic was First Appearance of Amulet. There's no rumors that that'll be, but that's one that Think Deep Spec, and that was issue 13 for the third or fourth series of Miss Marvel that you want to look into. Just because it's another superhero created, we don't know how important this character will be, but they created a character. Who knows if this series is successful if they'll go into that. So, guys, this is my theories on Miss Marvel. Doesn't mean I know anything. And I'm not repeating anything that hasn't already been repeated. But for those of you that don't follow Miss Marvel, that don't know some things, these are just a few of the issues that are worth checking out. And guys, there are some gorgeous covers, and especially in that first run of 17 issues that I would look at. I have the entire run. I've tried to pick them up. I tried to pick up all the variants. I wish I had more of the first appearances. I don't have a second print Captain Marvel 17. I wish I did. That is one that was way too late to the Spec game on that one. But yeah, Miss Marvel, Spec, check it out. Read the series.